Jean here from Happy Indulgence, and I've got Jenna here as well, who is my co-blogger, and I'm going to go through my October books that I read this month. So I'll talk about my favourite books down to the books that I like the least, and hopefully you guys can find a new favourite. Jenna's going to pitch in as well with her thoughts on the books that I've read. I reread Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo in preparation for Crooked Kingdom, and it was just so good the second time. Have you reread your copy yet?
I haven't reread it yet, but I would like to reread the duology maybe in like December or next year.
Oh, rereading it is like the best experience because you're already familiar with the world, and I find the first time I read it, it was kind of tough learning all the new concepts, especially not having read the Grisha trilogy. Oh, it was just so good the second time, and yeah, I really recommend reading it again if you're going to pick up Crooked Kingdom and you haven't yet.
If you haven't read the Grisha trilogy, I think you should read the Grisha trilogy and then reread this.
No, read Six of Crows first, and then Crooked Kingdom, and then the Grisha trilogy. Because you can't delay on how awesome it is. Yeah, so definitely pick up this trilogy if you love fantasy reads, if you love diversity, and if you loved like an awesome cast of characters. They'll stay with you a long time.
5 stars.
Yes, 5 stars. Obviously reading Crooked Kingdom, I was not prepared for all the feels in this book. It was so good. Like, just while reading it, like I was just absolutely savoring every moment. There was so much more development with some of the characters where, you know, you could either take or leave in some of the previous books, and I loved like Jesper and Wylan. They were just so cute this time around.
They were so cute together.
Yeah.
I really liked that the book had a lot more of their perspectives in it, because they were the 2 characters that we didn't get to see a lot in the first book.
No, and they actually grew to be like one of my favourite ships in the series, even though I like every ship. Seriously, like you need to prepare yourself for reading this book and have like tissues close by, because I was not prepared, and when I reached like this particular chapter, I screamed out, I burst out crying, and I was crying for like an hour. I was a complete mess. Reaching the end, it just like really touches you in the heart, and I don't think it could have ended any better.
No,
what did
the
you
last
think?
chapter was amazing.
Oh, I absolutely loved it, and so did Jenna. We gave this book 5 stars, and it's probably the best book of the year for me.
Yeah, it's my favourite book of the year.
Jenna hasn't read Gemini yet, but oh my gosh, I absolutely love it so much. I was a bit afraid because I love Illuminae so much, and like with sequels you never really know what to expect. Like you don't know if they're going to be as good or whether it's just going to be a middle book where there's not much going on, but Gemini, like I actually think was even better than Illuminae, because you go in and you know like the crazy formatting and the drawings that are going to happen, but then like in there's like wormholes, alien parasites, there's like a strike team that invades them, and it's just a lot more heavier when it comes to like the deep space experience. Jenna's only been here with me for a few days, and I think every hour I'm like, I need to read Gemini again, you need to read Gemini, everyone just read it, it's awesome, I loved it, I can't get over it, it's awesome.
Literally every day she's like, read it, read it, and I'm like, no, I'll just wait till I get home.
Yeah, although her excuse is that she wants to binge read it all in one go, so I can accept that.
Yeah.
Once you get to the kill list in here, our co-blogger Isla is in there, and we're really excited about that too, so watch out for it.
Really excited that she's dead.
I know, she won it and everything. We're like, I know her, and that's exciting. Yeah, I gave Gemina 5 stars, and hopefully Jenna will too.
It's like hint hint.
So the next book I read is Stars Above by Marissa Meyer. This is a short story collection that occurs after the Lunar Chronicles. I think there's about 11 or 12 stories in here. It's been a while since I finished Winter. Lunar Chronicles is my favourite series of all time.
It's my favourite series too.
I know.
Maybe Infernal Devices.
Stars Above, like, oh, it just gave me so many feels. It's like you're reading along, there's perspectives of your favourite characters, and then at the end, it's got like this wedding, and
oh, the wedding.
There's just like so many feels and it really wraps up the series, but then it's like the wrap up of the wrap up and then you still want more. Like I just can't get enough of it. I loved it and I gave it 4.5. I'm actually not too keen on short story anthologies, but if it was just this end part, like seriously, 5 stars.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I gave the entire thing 4.5 as well.
Yeah.
I liked most of the stories, but my favourite one was the wedding, and I also liked the Little Mermaid retelling as well.
Yeah,
That
which
was really good.
And I didn't actually realise it was a Little Mermaid retelling until you said, so I have to go back and read it. For OzYA on ABC Radio, which I'm covering next weekend, one of the books that we're covering is Swarm by Scott Westerfeld, Margo Lanagan and Deborah Biancotti. I hadn't read Zeros yet, so I just picked it up this month, and it's sort of like a really fun superhero misfits read. There were some really fun superpowers in here.
One guy has the ability to just, he has like this voice, and the voice is able to just say what other people want to hear. He doesn't know what's going to come out of his mouth, so it gets him into all sorts of trouble. There's a girl who's blind, but she's able to see the world through other people's eyes, and another one who is able to control like technology and electricity, and she like crashes things, or she's able to like kind of start it up. They have like really cool and unique powers.
I like anything superhero. I'm a big Marvel fangirl, so I really enjoyed that from Zeros, but I did find that some of the development behind why they had their powers and some of the world building wasn't really covered in here. Yeah, so I gave this book 3.5 stars.
I gave Zeros 3.5, and I read Swarm this month and I gave it 4 stars. I like the plot of Swarm a little bit more than the plot of Zeros, and also some of the characters have been developed a little bit more and the ships have been developed a little bit more, and yeah, I really enjoyed that book, and I'm really excited for the 3rd book that's coming out next year.
So I hope I enjoy Swarm as well. I'm actually just finishing this off at the moment because I'm in such a major book slump from Gemina. Sidekicks by Kostakis is an Aussie YA book that covers 3 perspectives of friends who are very unlikely friends, but the common guy in their group has actually passed away, so they're each dealing with grief in their own ways.
I think the point is that they're not actually friends, but they're all friends with the guy who has died, and so they kind of all hang out together, and I think this is a book that's about their kind of friendship, even though they weren't technically friends before.
Yeah, and it's sort of a bit awkward, but then when it gets towards the end, it kind of fits in a way where they're trying to find out where they are in their life and how they all fit together. It's actually quite a heavy book. I love Will's writing because he writes so impactful in just a few words and sentences. Instead of switching perspectives, which I found interesting, it covers like one character and their story, and then before moving on to the next one.
It like ties together at the end, which is really nice.
Yeah, it's linked together quite well. I'm a few pages from finishing this book, but I'll probably give it a 3.5.
I gave it a 4.5 when I read it. I really liked the writing style, and I liked the perspectives, each of the characters' voices, so the writing is different for each of the 3 perspectives. Like there's one guy who's really bad at grammar, so his kind of perspective is written quite like ungrammatically, whereas there's another perspective and he's very like grammatical. His perspective, like all of the writing, there's no contractions and stuff, and it's written like in a very sophisticated way, and I really like that.
Yeah, you can really tell their personality just from the chapters alone, and it's really neat how it was done. So yeah, 3.5 for me, 4.5 from Jenna, and yeah, definitely pick it up. I love Will's writing. So the next book that we both read is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. This is the ARC edition in Australia. We just talked about how much we love the Lunar Chronicles series, so going into this, it was actually really different.
So this is like a Alice in Wonderland retelling, and I thought that the world wasn't that original. It just seemed like Alice in Wonderland or every other Alice in Wonderland retelling that I've ever read. I was just a little bit disappointed. I didn't find it to be as exciting as the Lunar Chronicles, where it's quite a unique space kind of setting.
Yeah, sort of like inspired by fairy tales rather than a straight retelling of a fairy tale. So you really have to like sort of change your perspective before you pick this up.
I was also like disappointed with the romance. I love the ships in the Lunar Chronicles, and I thought this was gonna like give me the same feels, but I thought that the romance was just very like lackluster, and there was like no chemistry between the characters, so I didn't enjoy that at all.
Yeah, like I thought Jess, like he was just really bland, and even though he's a court jester, which is like a bit of a twist from the usual handsome prince, but then like his personality was like the usual, you know, handsome, brave, chivalrous, like it was kind of boring and bland. I ended up liking the book more after Kath, who is the main character, starts turning, because it's like a Queen of Hearts retelling, and then it gets like a bit darker. Yeah, like that really caught my attention, but the first half of the book, especially when it focuses on the romance, I just felt a bit bored at times.
Yeah, I didn't love the ending either. I liked how the plot like wrapped up, but I didn't like her development into the Queen of Hearts, because I thought it was like, obviously it was predictable because we knew it was going to happen, and I thought it like happened kind of quickly as well. She was not evil and then she became evil.
But did you like the bakery descriptions?
I liked the baking a lot.
Oh, it just
started with baking, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna like this.
Like it made me really, really hungry, because like every page is like lemon tarts and spiced apple pie and pineapple. It was a good read. It wasn't her best work, but if you love Alice in Wonderland, I think you'll love this book. But if you go into it thinking it's going to be like the Lunar Chronicles, like I don't think so. So yeah, so I gave this a 3 stars.
Yeah, and I gave it a 3.5.
So this is the ARC edition of Holding Up the Universe by Jennifer Niven. I absolutely loved All the Bright Places. I know Jenna wasn't a big fan. This book is about Libby, and she's a larger girl who has been dealing with weight issues throughout her life. And it also talks about Jack, who has this condition where he can't recognize anyone's faces, even though he sees them all the time. Like, his brain doesn't link them to people that he knows. So it was really interesting hearing from both of their perspectives and having them meet each other in an unlikely friendship and sort of find a common goal in the issues that they were struggling with. Although, as always, I had problems with how the romance developed. I don't think romance is a cure for everything, and it started to get a bit unrealistic at times. Even though I loved Jack, I loved his swagger, and I loved how he sort of overcompensated for his problems with recognizing people's faces. You had Libby, who I wasn't convinced on. At some points, she was really inspirational, and she stood up to the bullying that she experiences, but in other points, she's like really self-critical and really critical and judgy about other people, and I'm like, girl, like I don't even know where you're at right now. So I thought the characters were all over the place, and I wasn't a fan of the romance either. I loved hearing about Jack and his condition because I haven't read that in a book before, but overall I think I gave this book 3 stars.
I'm interested in the prosopagnosia part of it because I am a psychology major and I'm interested in that. But at the same time, I don't think that I will be reading it, just because I had issues with All the Bright Places and her mental illness representation, and I'm not sure that it's going to be represented very well in this book.
So the next book I read is Special by Georgia Blain, which is another Aussie YA book that I covered on ABC Radio on OzYA. I'll leave you guys a link below. This is a dystopian that actually takes quite a different turn. It explores a future owned by corporations, and these corporations can construct the perfect child based on your DNA. And Delia is one of the characters. She's called a lotto girl, and she gets to live in this amongst the wealthy kids and attend their schools, eat their food, and they're called the Bio-Perfect Corporation. It explores this future where it has like the ideal set of circumstances for the wealthy, and then you've got the poor people who go into like this luck of the draw to get the ideal children. She's got a memory lapse because she doesn't know how she got there. The book is told through the past and the present, and it covers different perspectives of Delia when she was at the school in this sort of like perfect circumstance, and Delia in this sorting facility where she's like wondering why she's going through rubbish, and she's actually quite different in both of them, and it's up to the readers to piece together the story and find out how she got there, find out why she's there in the first place. There's a massive twist at the end, which I didn't really expect. But with dystopians, they're one of my favorite genres. I really prefer when they have lots of action in it to keep me going. This one didn't feature much action at all, and like Delia keeps on talking about how special she is, which really annoyed me. And even like 80% of the way through, the story hasn't moved a whole lot, and I found myself quite bored at times. That's why I gave this book 2 stars, because I got really bored and just wanted it to be over. So Lucky Last is The Thousandth Floor by Katharine McGee. Jenna and I had completely different opinions about it. I was so excited to pick it up because I had to listen to like hours of Jenna describing the hardback edition and how pretty it was, and I'm like, wow, it must be good.
Then you got this one in the mail.
Yeah, I got this one in the mail. It wasn't as pretty, and I'm like, okay, if I love it, I'll still get the hardback edition.
It's like Gossip Girl in the near future. So it's set in Manhattan, but Manhattan is now completely inside a tower that is 1,000 floors. So you have like Central Park, which is on like level 307, and obviously the higher you are, the more rich you are. So there are 5 main characters, and one of them lives on the 1,000th floor. Yeah, it's like a futuristic Gossip Girl, and so if you love Gossip Girl and you like kind of, or like Pretty Little Liars, and you like that kind of like
the luxury,
mindless entertainment,
the drama,
yeah,
the soap opera sort of thing, which I actually don't mind. But the big thing about this book that I could not stand was the brother-sister romance, and you heard me right. They're actually adopted, so they're not actually related. Can't imagine growing up with someone since you were young, like since you were a kid, and then suddenly developing romantic feelings for them. Throughout the whole book, this was like a main focus of that particular character. And like I just couldn't get my head like into the book because of that.
I thought it was a bit gross, but I was able to look past it because I really liked the technology in the book. I thought the world was really cool, the technology was really cool, and I liked some of the other perspectives. So one of the characters is in a lesbian relationship, and I really liked her, and I liked that the relationship lasted like for most of the book instead of for like 2 chapters. I liked one of the side characters who wasn't actually a main perspective in the book. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I love the hardcover.
The other thing is that, you know, if you've watched any of those shows, you know that it gets really over dramatic and ridiculous at times, and I was just rolling my eyes towards the end going, oh my god, when's it gonna end? Like everyone's like over dramatized. Yeah, it was just too much for me.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, this is actually like a mystery. So at the start, someone falls off the very top level of the tower, and you don't really know who it is until the very end. Yeah, so if you like mystery and like Gossip Girl and drama, you might like this.
So I gave The Thousandth Floor 2 stars.
And I gave it 4.5.
I hope that helps you guys to find out whether you'll check it out or not. So these are the 11 books that I read during October. If you enjoyed the video, please give us a thumbs up and leave a comment down below if you have any questions or comments. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you find a new favourite. See ya! Bye! I'll see you guys next month.